machine learning system, what we are supposed to know about machine learning system. Okay, so this is what today's lecture. So formally we are introducing towards the machine learning, something called as concept learning. That is what the first chapter. So we'll look into this. Okay, so coming to the outline of this particular module, there are two chapters. The first one is introduction and the second one is concept learning. In the second chapter, we are looking into two problems also, two types of problem solving. That is what we are solving in the lab also. Okay, so let us understand a better way. So in today's lecture, let us understand something called as well-posed learning problems and also how we can design the learning system. Okay. So what do you mean by learning? Learning is nothing but a computer program improves itself by improves its performances as it is having some experience. I think in the last lecture we have seen the definition of the machine learning. I am repeating again now, just a revision. A computer program is set to learn from experience E with respect to some task T, performance measure P. If the performance increases, performance of doing the task T increases, which is measured by P, by experience. So overall we can say the machine improves its performance as it gets some experience. That is how the human beings also will behave. As we learn more and more, as we get experience more and more, we try to do our job more systematic way, more reliable way. Okay, so that is the same thing we is expected from the machine also. So that is what we call it as a machine learning. Okay, so this is the problem that we are discussing. We have seen in the last class, but I'm repeating because we have come across this particular problem every now and then. Every now and then. So if you consider the problem of playing the chess or checkers, the performance is measured by the games won against the opponent. It is the percentage of games won. Okay. And what is the experience? It is the practicing the game itself. Okay. So this is what the checkers learning problem. So basically checkers is nothing but similar to the chess. We need to move the pawn every now and then. Okay. So I don't know the exact way of playing the checkers. Anyway, you know chess, you can just map the chess. Okay. Now let us understand how we can design a learning system. How we can design a learning system. Okay. So in today's lecture, we are mainly focusing on designing the learning system. There are 5 stages of designing the learning system. So let us understand the concept behind that. Maybe exam point of view also, maybe one question you can expect like how we can design a learning system, maybe 10 marks or 12 marks question you can expect, how we can design a learning system. Sometimes the questions are expected as a sub part of this also, how we can first two is combined to have a question of say 6 marks question or 8 marks question, something like that. Okay, fine. So designing a learning system, there are 5 stages. Number 1, choosing a training experience. Second one, choosing a target function. Third one is choosing a representation for the target function, and choosing an approximate algorithm, function approximation algorithm, and the final design. So yeah, any doubts? Some noise, I think. Okay, so the checkers learning problem, same problem we are visiting again. With respect to the checkers learning problem, checkers playing problem, we are trying to design this particular system now. Our discussion is revolving around this example only. So that is why this problem is stated again. Okay. So task is playing the checkers game. Performance is evaluated by percentage of games won, and training experience, the games played against itself. That is the experience it is getting. Okay. Now, let us understand what do you mean by choosing the training experience. Okay, choosing the training experience. So, the question every time that comes whenever we design the machine learning system is how we can train it. As of now, you know that there is, as of now, beyond our syllabus, and maybe as a part of your internship learning or any other courses you have taken already, maybe knowing that training is nothing but some set of samples we take and that is used for training. That's all we know so far. Okay. Now, in this particular module, maybe we are understanding what do you mean by training, what exactly training means, what we are supposed to do. So what is the theory behind that? That is the main importance here. Okay. The type of learning experience available can have a significant impact on the success or failure of the learner. Okay. Training examples, the way in which the training happens is very, very important. Okay. Will the training experience will provide direct or indirect feedback? Okay. What do you mean by direct feedback? Suppose the system learns from the examples of the individual checkers board states and the correct move for each. We say that it is a direct feedback. Examples of individual board states. Please understand, we are not taking moves individually. Instead of that, we say that as a whole board, if you look at it to the whole board, what is the current state of the board? Current state of the board to next state of the board that is got after a move, whether it is a correct move. If at all we are giving such information to our system, so in that case, it is a direct feedback. It is a direct feedback. Okay. So second one is indirect feedback. Indirect feedback means we move across the sequences of the pawn in the checkers game, and finally we get an outcome. So outcome is nothing but whether we won or not. Okay. So what we try to do is it is a credit assignment system. Something like value of every state must be inferred from the outcome. It is something like this, like we keep on playing the game, finally we will win or lose. Based upon this winning or losing, the previous moves are valued. Some value is assigned to the previous state. Suppose if you won at the end, whatever the moves you have taken earlier is having higher the values. Suppose if you lose at the end, whatever the previous states that we got while moving the pawn in the checkers board, so that is having a lesser values. So we call this as a credit assignment system. Value of early states must be inferred from the final outcome. So that is what we call it as an indirect feedback. Okay, so direct feedback and indirect feedback. Now the question in the training is, will the training experience provide a direct feedback or indirect feedback? So this is what we have to look into. Okay, I am not saying the answer here. Please, in my discussion here, I just focus on what is the question we need to ask to train the system. So first question is, will the training experience will provide direct or indirect feedback? So this is the first question. The second question we need to answer is, what is the degree to which the learner controls a sequence of training examples? What is the degree to which the trainer controls the sequence of training examples? Means, 1 minute. Hello. ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸಾಕ? ಓಕೆ. Okay, so degree to which the learner controls the sequence of training examples. It means, Teacher selects the informative boards and gives correct move. There is an external source, something called as teacher. Now you have to imagine now. There is a computer that learns by itself. Okay, just imagine that situation. Now there is an external teacher or external program, we can say, that selects an informative boards and gives the correct move. So there is a program called as teacher that selects the correct move, and the learner proposes board states that it finds particularly confusing. Teacher provides the correct move. It is not nothing like you are learning, like student to teacher learning, how students learn from teacher in the real world situation. So maybe some problem statement we'll give, some method of solving we will give, you try to solve. If you get some doubt, if you get some confusion, you ask the teacher whether it is correct or wrong. Teacher will correct you, the lecturer will correct you, and you will continue with the correct movement. Now, can we adopt the same thing to the machine learning also, for the machines also? So that is the thought process here. So here is an external program states, and some indirect training will happen here. Okay, some indirect training will happen here. So this is a second way of second thing that we trying to answer, how we can have the training experience. The third point is how well it represents the distribution of examples over which final system performance P must be measured. How it's supposed to come out with a distribution of examples. What do you mean by distribution of examples? Distribution of examples means whenever we learn something, if you have, I will give you an example. Okay, consider handwriting recognition. Okay, handwriting recognition means you are giving so many handwriting samples and the correct classification handwriting sample. Now, while giving the samples, I need to ensure that, say, handwriting only the digits. Let us assume handwriting the digits, handwritten digits recognition. You know there are 10 digits. Suppose in the training, if you give only say 5 only say, let us say, examples or samples belonging to digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 6 labels we are giving during the training process. Remaining 4 we are not giving during the training. Now the question here is the sample distribution given for training is correct or not? The answer is definitely the distribution is not perfect, because we have not given sufficient samples belonging to the class, say 6, 7, 8, 9. My example, I said that training examples only contain samples of 0 to 6. This is one example I gave. Another example may be, say, thousands of samples we are giving for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And for 8, 9, for 8 and 9, let us say I am giving only 10 samples. Only 10 samples for training. This also, we say that distribution of samples is not correct. Distribution of samples is not correct. Okay, so how well it represents the distribution of examples over the final system performance P must be measured. So how well the distribution sample affects the performance of the system. So that is the another answer we are trying to get it. Okay. Now coming back to our problem now, if you consider the checkers learning problem, maybe we have some choices for learning. Some choices for us are the exact type of knowledge to be learned, a representation for this target knowledge, a learning mechanism. These are the some of the choices it is remaining for us. Okay. What is the type of knowledge we are supposed to learn? This knowledge, how we need to represent, and a learning mechanism. So this is what we try to understand here. So this is a how we can get the training experience. Am I audible to all? Can you unmute and speak? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so this is what the first thing. Coming to the second one, choosing a target function. What do you mean by choosing a target function? I think some explanation is required for you beyond the syllabus to understand what is target function. Okay, let us understand what is target function. Okay, probably in the last class, I told you about there is an example called as the house price prediction. House price prediction example. Okay, so what we are trying there is, now we try to come out with some data where how many bedrooms are there in the house, what is the location of the house, what is the area of the house. Okay, say let us not focus on many attributes. I just focus on just two aspects now. Two aspects. One is how many number of bedrooms. Another one is how many area. What is the area of the house? How many bedrooms? What is the area of the house in square feet? Let us say. Say just having true attributes, I have something called as price of the house. Okay, I have something called as price of the house. Say our data set now contains only 3 columns. There are 2 attributes, how many bedrooms. Second one is what is the area of the house. By knowing these two, I need to come across this. Our data set usually contains so many samples of this one. Okay, sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, sample 4. Sample 5 says sample 100 or sample 1000. Ultimately, once you design a machine learning system, our system should come out with, given the number of bedrooms, given the area of the house, our system should predict what is the price of the house. The problem type is called as regression problem. The problem type is called as a regression problem because price is a continuous value. Price is a continuous value, so that is why it is a regression problem. Now what do you mean by target function? Now, let us assume the training already happened for us. Training is done. Later, you are given with some X value of, say, number of bedrooms, and say Y represent the number of, it is the area of the house. From this X and Y, I need to predict what is the price of the house. So this is our problem now. So definitely the question comes is how to do this. That is what machine learning. So what we try to do is we try to come out with a mathematical relation. What is that mathematical relation? During training, what we try to do is we have so many values of here, so many samples here, so many samples here also, so many such values. What we try to do is we try to come out with a function. Say this is X, this is Y. We try to come out with a function, let us say F. We try to come out with a function F of X comma Y is equal to some Z. Z is nothing but the price of the house. What we are supposed to learn now? From given X and Y, we need to find out Z. So this is what the target function is. So this particular notation, we call it as target function. F is the target function. F is the target function. Now we need to come out with this target function. Training is nothing but understanding what is that f. Please understand, f is not given for us. We need to design f. We need to design f based upon x and y. We need to design f based upon x and y. That is what machine learning means. Try to understand, my dear students. Whole machine learning problem is nothing but finding out that what is that function f. One simple analogy I can give, maybe f is like, maybe I don't know, maybe f is like, say 2x. My handwriting is very bad now because I'm writing in a PowerPoint using my mouse. Say 2x plus y, z is equal to 2x plus y. It is nothing but an equation of a line. Okay, I'm just writing randomly. I'm writing. Maybe after learning, you may get some function z is equal to 2x plus 3y. This happens during the, how this 2 and 3 is got? After training. After training, this 2 and 3 is got. So training is nothing but knowing what are the parameters of the target function. To know the target function, knowing the target function is nothing but there are several parameters in the target function that we try to understand during the training process. So once the training happens, it is very easy. Later stage, some x and some y is given to you. We can predict the price of the house very easily. So please understand, my dear students, target function is nothing but the function over the attributes, and the output, it gives some value of the label. Input is attributes, output is label. So in our example, number of bedrooms is nothing but x, the total area of the house is nothing but y. Based upon that, we are predicting the price of the house, that is nothing but z. Okay, so hope you understood now what you mean by target function. Is it clear? Target function is clear? Can you unmute and speak?
Yes, sir.
Any no's are there?
So,
No. Hope it is clear to all. Okay, fine. So let me proceed. Okay. So moving on, the question is here, I told you now what you mean by target function. Now the question is how we can choose a target function, whether it is linear, whether it is quadratic, whether it is some polynomial or some other function, we don't know. So we need to choose a target function. Okay. Now coming to our example now, checkers learning problem. Assume that you have to determine the legal moves. Now our program needs to learn the best move among the legal moves. What do you mean by legal move? In chess or checkers, you know, every pawn is having its own right path. There is some, some king always moves in one particular way. Some other elephant will move in only in one particular way. So every pawn is having its own movement, legal movement. So that is what we call it as a legal move. So illegal moves are not allowed here. Okay. So program needs to learn what is the best move among all the possibility of the legal moves. All the possibility of the moves, we need to select the best one. Now, define a large search space known a priori. A priori means priori. Earlier only, before starting the learning problem only, we know that. So every move, please understand, in chess, while playing the chess, you have thousands of movements that is possible, legal movements that are possible there. Okay. So among that several possibilities, we define a function called as choose move. We define a function called as choose move. Among several possibilities, this choose move function will select the best move. This is how we design. So earlier I said a function, target function called as f. Now we are calling, for this particular example, it is called as choose move. What is the input? input is nothing but current board state, current board of the checkers play. So that is what the current board. Given that, it will tell you M means what is the move I need to take so that it will lead you to the winning the whole game. Okay, so that is what choosing the move. Okay, so here is an example, visual example. Suppose if you consider this is the current board state, what are the different possibilities for us? We have several possibilities. Maybe you can move this pawn. Which one is moved? Yeah, this is moved to here, or this is moved to here. This is moved to here. There are several possibilities. You can move a pawn. Okay, several possibilities in checkerboard. Everything is moved in diagonally. Okay, so you can just imagine in a chess. If you can, even I am not able to understand the checkers learning problem better way. Checkers game I don't know much actually. Chess I know. Hope you can map this problem to chess. Okay. So just to try to understand, given a board state, there are several moves that is available. So this is the 7 moves that is shown here in that diagram. Okay. Now coming back to our problem, choose move is nothing but a function. It selects given a board state, it selects what is the move. Okay. So choose move is difficult to learn given indirect training. During indirect training, it is very difficult to understand what is the state I am not supposed to give. So we go for some alternate target function. How we design a target function, let us understand. Okay. Now what we try to do is, we try to come out with an evaluation function that assigns a numerical score to any given board state. Given earlier board state, it is very difficult to design the target function. So we try to define it in a mathematical way. So if you design in a mathematical way, it is very easy to compare actually. So what we try to do is, instead of that choose move function, I define a function called as V. Given a board state, it will come out with a real number so that I can compare two board state easily. So instead of going for previous strategy of choose move, where selecting which move is best one is very difficult for us. Why? Because only at the end only I can know that this is the best one. So it is what indirect training. So that is very difficult to do that. So instead of that, we go for designing a target function. Say V, given a board state, it comes out with a numerical value, real value. Suppose the value is high, we say that current board state is the best one, so that it will lead you to the winning state. Otherwise, you may be losing it. Okay, so this is what alternate one we try to do. So what we try to do is, given this particular board state, to the function target function V, it says that suppose if at all this pawn is moved to here, okay, f is equal to 10. Suppose this is moved, f is equal to 7.7. Suppose this is moved here to here, it is 14.3. Okay, so this is moved like this. So what I'm trying to say is, for every board state now, for every move, we define an real valued function called as V. The output is V. Sorry, the output is some real value. So from these real values, it is easy for us to understand which one is the best. This gives 10, 7.7, 14.3, 10, 10.8, 6.3, 9.4. You know that here 14.3 is the best one. Okay, here you can see it is the best one. So maybe this particular move is preferred, so that it will move to the winning state. Definitely, we have not answered it how this 14.3 is coming. We have not discussed it, but we just come to know that let us have a real valued function so that it gives us some numerical value as an output so that we can compare easily which one is the best one. Okay. Now, so now the question comes. Now the question comes: how we can design the target function v given the board state b. Input is b, board state. Now how we can design the target function? Okay, so let us understand. So v of b for an arbitrary board state, say b in b, capital B represents all the board states that is possible. This is one instance. Small letter b, it is an instance, means one board state, given one board. Now v is nothing but the target function. So for v, if you give the current board state, it will come out with a real valued number. Now how we can design? One thought process is like this. Suppose b is the final board state and it is on also, that particular game is on by the corresponding player, let us say. Then let us say the value is nothing but 100 because it is the perfect state. B is the state, is a winning state. Let us assign 100. Suppose it is lost, the corresponding value for this particular board state is minus 100. Suppose it is a draw, then corresponding state can be assigned as 0. This is the case where B is a final state. Suppose B is not a final state, maybe we can say the value of that particular target function B is equal to V of B dash, where B dash is the best final board state that is achieved later stage. So suppose B is not a final state. Okay, in that case, the value of B, the value of V of B is determined by some best final board state in the later stage. B dash is got from the final state. Okay, so you can just imagine B is nothing but some intermediate stages. B dash is nothing but the final stage, we can say. Okay, so value of B is derived from the final state, say B dash. It is got from there actually. Okay, now definitely the V of B is a recursive definition. It is a recursive definition now. Value of B is got from the next state. If it is winning state, this is having 100. Then we can say that previous state is good state, it is 100. It is something like this. Final state, let us say win. Based upon that, we say that previous state is also some winning state, so we give 100. Before that state also given as say 100. Suppose the final state is losing the game. Then previous to that particular state is also assigned with minus 100. Previous to that also assigned with minus 100. So like that it goes. This type of designing the recursive function, target function, recursive function, so that is also not much useful for us. Not much useful for us because it is Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is my slides are visible? No.
No. No, sir.
Okay. What about now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any doubts? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the goal of this is how we choose the target function. Now, the goal of the learning is to discover some function V so that it should be possible for us operational description V. Operational description means we don't want some theoretical functions now like V. We want some functions where actually we can do that in our real time scenarios. So exact identification of target function is very, very difficult because so many constraints are there. So what we do in our real time scenarios is we try to build some approximation functions. Approximation function means originally, if at all you are implementing in the right way, target function may be a polynomial of degree 6, degree 7, degree 8. What do you mean by polynomial? You know that. Suppose if I say say in my earlier example of predicting the house price, I have taken x and y as the two attributes. I just wrote z is equal to 2x plus 3y. It's a very simple case. Now, maybe it is something like 3x plus 4x square plus 5x cube plus 6, say x to the power 10 plus say some 11 into x to the power 100. If at all the case, it is very difficult to find out such a function. So what we try to do in our machine learning is we try to come a conclusion. We believe that all the functions are very simple functions, linear functions. Okay. So whatever may be the actual one which we don't know, actual target function that we don't know, we approximate this function to some simple function. Let us say V cap. Let us say V cap. Okay. So that is what we are learning next. Now the question is how we can represent this V cap. How we can represent V cap. Okay. One such example that is given here. One such example of designing such V cap is given here for the checkers learning problem. Okay. Of course, there are several trade-off. Trade-off means some benefits, some disadvantages, everything is there. Let us anyway continue. So, choice of representation involves trade-offs. Pick a very expressive representation to allow close approximation to the ideal target function V. More expressive, more training data is required to choose among the alternative hypotheses. That is what I told earlier. If you select a best target function will be degree may be high, finding out will be difficult. Suppose if you take an approximate target function, if you try to find out an approximate target function, it will be easy for us. Training will be easy for us. What is the trade-off? What is the disadvantage? Approximated one may have less performance. So that is a trade-off actually. Now, for the given function now for the given problem of checkers learning problem, we are in the process of identifying the target function. So target function is nothing but given a board state, we need to find out a real valued number for that. So earlier we have seen some values are assigned 7, 14.8, something like that. Now let us understand how we can get those values. One simple methodology, this is not the only methodology. One simple method that we can design such a system is use linear combination of following board features. What is that linear combination of board features that is used? X1. Earlier in my example, X and Y are the two variables I took, two attributes I took. In this checker learning problem, now I am taking 6 attributes. What is that 6 attributes that represent some information of the board state? The 6 attributes are nothing but x1 is nothing but the number of black pieces that remains on the board. x2 is nothing but the number of red pieces remain on the board. Similarly, x3 is the number of kings, black kings on the board. x4 is red kings present in the board. Okay. x5 is nothing but the number of black pieces threatened by red. Threatened means which can be captured, like chess, which can be captured by the red in the next step. x6 is nothing but the number of red pieces threatened by black. Okay, so this is what we do here. Okay, so based upon these 6 variables, we design the target function v cap. So v cap is nothing but w naught. Now here w is nothing but some constant. We need to learn this constant. W is nothing but a constant. W naught plus W1 into X1, W2 into X2, W3 into X3, and so on, W6 into X6. Please understand, this is a linear combination of the features. X1 to X6 are the features. Linear combination of that is nothing but this particular target function. In machine learning, we try to generate most of the target function in most of the ways as a linear combination of the features. What is that feature means? A board is represented here as 6 variables, 6 information that is got from the board. That is what we call it as features. Now we can ask a question that, sir, is it only 6 features? Don't you have some other features? Definitely. It is a skill of the developer to come out with good features that captures, that designs the target function efficiently. Okay, please understand, this is not the only 6 features. We can have many features we can have that captures the board state efficiently. Okay, so that is what linear combination of the features. That is what features means. Features represent the board state effectively. Okay, so as a summary of this particular stage, I can say that we have a checker learning problem. We have task T, P, E, we already know, and we defined a target function V. Given a board state, it comes out with a real valued number. Now, in this particular stage, we are trying to develop an approximation for this particular V, which is called as V cap. So given a board state V, we try to come out with a real number using this particular expression. So this is what the partial design so far. Now, choosing a function approximate algorithm. What do you mean by that? Now the next question is how we can choose this function approximation algorithm. To learn, we require, what do you mean by learning now? Now the learning is nothing but we need to try to understand this, what is the value of W0, W1, W2, all this W6. We need to understand now what is that value. Then only the actual target function is designed. Okay. So, to learn, we require a set of training examples describing the board B and the training value V train B. Okay. So, the ordered pair V, V train V. B is nothing but the board state. V train B is nothing but the value. Usually it is winning or losing or 0 or 1. Now, in our case, it is V is nothing but the target function that gives some value plus 100, minus 100 or some other value. Okay. Now we try to develop an ordered pair B, V B comma target function. B is nothing but the board, which is represented by 6 variables, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 and x6, that represents together as a board state. Okay, and the value of this particular train, suppose it is a winning state, we can say it as 100. So this is feature, this is label, we can say. Okay, now how we can estimate the training values? There are two things how we can do this, estimating the training values. The only training information available for our learner with respect to this particular example I am saying, the only information that is available for us is winning or losing. Okay, now despite of the ambiguity, inherent ambiguity in estimating the training values for intermediate board states, why this particular point is raised here? Because final state is won or lost or winning. We can easily assign the values as plus 100 or minus 100. Difficulty lies in understanding what is the target function value for the intermediate state. So that is actually the challenge here. So that is what pointed out here. Despite the ambiguity inherent in estimating the training values for the intermediate board state, one simple approach has been found, which is surprisingly, it is successful in nature. What is that? This approach is to assign a training value VB for any intermediate board state to be the VCAP successor of V. What is that? The rule is something like this. The value of a training example for a particular board state B is nothing but value assigned to the next state. Successor B is the function that gives next state of the board. So suppose the next state is the winning state, assumed to be plus 100, value is assumed to be plus 100. The same plus 100 is assigned to this board state B. There is nothing but the previous board state B. So this is how mathematically we are coming out with. Now the question is, there is one more question also. I told you earlier, whenever we have this function, target function W0 plus W1 into X1 and W6 something like into X6, how to determine the value of W? Now that is what we are trying to answer here. We need to update the value of W. Initially you take some value for W. Later we need to update the value of W based upon error. What do you mean by error? Error is nothing but, for training example, we have some board. Training example means we have board state and also we know that it is winning or loss at the end. Now what we try to do is, VCAP is the function which we designed, some values for W's, maybe randomly initialized. VTrain of B is nothing but the actual training example board states. Okay, actual one. Whether it is won or lost, we know that plus 100 or minus 100. What we are trying to do is, for all such, please understand, we have several board states which we know that finally it is winning or lost, won or lost. Such several training examples we have. What we are supposed to do is, we need to train the system using these training examples. Now again, further, what is that training? It is nothing but we need to adjust the weights W0, W1, W2 such a way that this error is minimized. What is mean by this error? How the error is computed? One way of computing the error is actual value of V for the training example minus the value of v estimated by our target function, this minus this, it is for one training example, square it, add it for all training examples. Do this difference for all training examples, square the difference, summation of all the squared errors, you have to summate it. That is the final error. Try to understand what is this error. I repeat, there are several training examples B whose labels are already known to us. Suppose this is the approximation value that we got, some values of W1, W2 we know. What is the error? It is computed as difference in the actual and what we got in our one. Square the error, add all the errors. Why we are squaring? Squaring is very simple. Maybe in the later stage I will answer why we need to square it. Okay, so as of now, just know that we need to square it and add it so that the error is got. Once the error is got, we need to update the value of W. We need to update the value of W such a way that error is minimized. Error is minimized. Okay, so here is an algorithm that we can follow now. So the method is called as least mean square training rule. What we are trying to do is for every training example B as well as its label, okay, use the current weights W10 to W6 and calculate this, okay, and update using this particular rule. Weight updation will be done as, say, Wi is equal to previous value of Wi plus a small value, something called as eta, say 0.01 into this particular difference into xi. How we are coming across, maybe at this point of time may not be required, later we can say that. So just to know that weights are updated based upon the error. That conclusion you can do. Based upon the error, to minimize the error, weights are updated. Weights are updated. Okay. The final design, we'll look into this in the next class, as you have already another class that is scheduled at 11 o'clock. Ananya sessions are scheduled at 11 o'clock. This particular topic I will take in next class. Okay. So am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you answer the attendance?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just, answer the attendance. Carol is there?
Present, sir.
Rachana?
Present, sir.
Rakesh?
Yes,
Rakesh?
sir. Present, sir. Present, sir.
Ranjit?
Yes, sir. Present.
Rashmi?
Present, sir.
Ria Mariam? Sadhana?
Present, sir.
Sambrama? Sandesh? Sangeeta? Sankalpalata?
Yes, sir.
Sapana?
Present, sir.
Sharanya?
Present, sir.
Shashank? Shavya?
Present, sir.
Shilpa? Shraddha Bedi?
Yes, sir.
Shavya Alva? Shavya Shetty?
Present, sir.
Sridevi?
Present, sir.
Sriraksha?
Present, sir.
Shriya?
Yes, sir.
Shreya?
Yes, sir.
Sri Gauri?
Present, sir.
Saudha?
Yes, sir.
Soumya?
Yes, sir.
Shravan?
Yes, sir.
Sudhindra,
Present, sir.
Suhas, Swati,
Yes, sir.
Swikriti,
Yes, sir.
Tejaswini, Tanvi,
Present, sir.
Tirtha,
Present, sir.
Vaishali, Vaishnavi,
Present, sir.
Vibha,
Present, sir.
India,
Yes, sir.
Vinuta,
Yes, sir.
Vishnu,
Yes, sir.
Yashaswini,
Yes, sir.
Karthik,
Yes, sir.
Anvita,
Yes, sir.
Deepika,
Yes, sir.
Lavin,
Yes, sir.
Shamita,
Yes, sir.
Sandesh.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the session. So later, day after tomorrow, we'll look into this. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.